It's a big night for college hoops on Tobacco Road. Welcome to the ACC on ESPN. We've got the 7th-ranked Auburn Tigers out of the SEC going on the road to take on an NC State team knocking on the door of a national ranking. And welcome, everybody. Happy holidays. So glad you could join us here. Doug Sherman along with former UCLA captain Sean Farnham. And we have two teams, a lot of similarities, Sean. Both 9-1. Both love to get after it defensively. Both have been blowing out most of their opponents. We have ourselves a premium matchup.
This is good enough to be labeled a Sweet 16 type game come March. But what stands out to me is the holiday spirit is all about giving. These two teams are all about taking. When you look at their turnovers forced per game, they both rank in the top 15 nationally. The scoring margin that you alluded to, they're superb and elite at the offensive end, but they're just as solid pressuring, forcing the offense to initiate further and further away from the three-point line. This is going to be a high-scoring affair between two teams that really like to get up and down the court.
It seems like in recent years we continue to get more and more of these November and December matchups pitting power teams from power conferences. It's the Wolfpack at 9-1, the Tigers at 9-1, NC State in its home whites, Auburn in its road navy, and we are underway here at PNC Arena.
But look, they're going to re-jump it here, and it's good because it gives us an opportunity. Okay, so now they're going to change it. It's going to be North Carolina State ball. But here's what I love about this is you talk to both these coaches, and they say, look, when we go and recruit, nobody's asking, hey, how many wins are we going to pick up in games that really don't matter? They want to play against the best competition. This is how you build your program. This is how you go out and you recruit. You schedule games like this. It's here this year. It's going to be a return game next year for Auburn. It's fantastic. It's not at a neutral site. It's actually in the home arenas.
Off the bounce, Braxton Beverly gets the Wolfpack on the board.
At North Carolina State, if you haven't watched them play this year, they're one of the best shooting offenses in all of college basketball. Just a hair under 52% as a team.
Auburn's backcourt among the best in the country. Inside to Chuma Okeke, and the sophomore from Atlanta ties things up.
Great response of attacking the interior of North Carolina State's defense. That's where they want to start, because if you start there, then they can't extend out their pressure quite as much. They start taking a half a step back, and now you're getting your offense exactly where you want it to be.
Off the catch, Markel Johnson, 5-2 State.
Now, he had started the first 9 games and came off the bench last time. A rare turnover that time by Jared Harper, but going back to Markel Johnson, he started the first 9 games, and Coach Keats didn't start him against Penn State. Now you take out Devin Daniels and you put Johnson back in. And the part of the success for what Coach Keats has developed here at North Carolina State is the fact that this is a deep team. They play 10 guys, a lot of interchangeable parts that they have a lot of confidence in, and they like to wear down their opponents over the course of the game. We saw that prime example in that Penn State game where they just turned it on down the stretch, and Penn State couldn't keep up with the numbers.
And the Wolfpack beat the Nittany Lions Saturday in Atlantic City as Johnson misfires. Torrendorn after it, but coming away with it. Jared Harper, second team all-conference point guard in the SEC, to his backcourt mate Brown, and misfires.
They got to get him back on track. He was coming off his worst game of the season, and maybe even his entire career. 0 for 6 from 3 against UAB.
Torrendorn misses on the runner. Out of bounds. It'll stay with the Wolfpack. It's funny how that happens. Bryce Brown, 2 games ago, went for a career-high 34 points against Dayton and then really struggled the last time out for Bruce Pearl, who, you get the sense, Sean, he really, really likes his team.
Well, the big difference between last year's team and this year's team, numbers. Last year's team, towards the end of the year, they were struggling because they were wearing down. They didn't have as many guys that could go out there and play at the level in which Bruce Pearl wanted. This year, a deeper team.
All right, in terms of pure quickness with the basketball, where does Markel Johnson stack up in the country?
Top 5% of all guards, and we're seeing it early. The three-point shot, the ability to tack off the bounce. What a start for the Wolfpack.
Tough shot, Samir Dowdy.
Transfer from VCU, going across the lane. NC State's got to do a better job of not allowing Auburn to get that deep. It doesn't really matter if you shoot like that.
Well, Coach Keats really views Beverly and Johnson both his combo guards and loves having them out there together. Terrific defense to force the turnover. Back to Johnson for three again. This is a big opportunity for NC State. They are receiving votes, but they understand taking down a top 10 team in Auburn could really boost their national profile.
I thought they should have been a top 25 team this week. They're not. A win against Auburn would probably propel them inside the top 20 because I think just people are waiting for that signature win.
NC State's only loss so far this year, November 27th on the road in Madison to the Wisconsin Badgers. Other than that, they've been perfect.
That was a game where you saw 5 offensive fouls, Clark.
How about Braxton Beverly? 13-4 Tigers. 8 points for the sophomore from Hazard, Kentucky. Okeke unable to quiet the crowd. Johnson lost it out of bounds. It'll be Auburn basketball. Well, it is the holiday time. The Grinch isn't so happy with what we're about to do, but when we come back, my partner Sean Farnham spreads the holiday cheer.
Well, the holiday cheer has been all about Braxton Beverly. Feeling it from beyond the arc. What a great start for the Wolfpack. We welcome you back here at North Carolina State. Great start, Doug. I know you are a big fan of the holiday spirit, and college basketball has delivered some amazing gifts, and I've picked 3 that stand out more than any other to me in this young college basketball season. Almost a third through the season. How about a little love for Furman, undefeated? Jordan Lyons had a game 15 three-pointers. That was a true gift to college basketball. My guy, Admiral Schofield, back-to-back SEC Player of the Week, and of course that performance against the Zags, phenomenal. But the gift that keeps on giving every single night is Zion just simply being Zion. It's an unbelievable start to the season. Nobody is more of a face of the sport than what Zion Williamson has been able to accomplish. But there are so many great storylines that are developing. Of course, Buffalo, their continued success winning inside the Carrier Dome last night against Syracuse. I really got the spirit of giving out gifts. I just want to give, if we had more time.
Ho, ho, ho. I love the hat.
Thank you.
But I'm still waiting for my gift.
I'm working on that. You know that. I talked to you about that before. You asked for a pair of shoes.
That's true. That's true.
I mean, you're asking for a pair of shoes.
We're in the last week, though. We're in the home stretch. Got to make things happen. Well, what a start to this basketball game for the Wolfpack of North Carolina State. Their combination of Markel Johnson and Braxton Beverly have combined for all 13 points scored. And again, this is a backcourt duo, Sean, that led NC State against the odds a year ago to 11 conference wins. Thursday night at 7 Eastern, we'll have the college basketball game of the night here on ESPN2. Number 12, Texas Tech takes on the aforementioned Zion Williamson, and number 2, Duke at Madison Square Garden. And Sean, you can always watch it as you want to live on ESPN app.
It's going to be a great matchup. Texas Tech, an undefeated start to the season. Defensively, number 1 in the country right now. Fewest points allowed per game at just over 51 per contest. I have a feeling they're going to give up more than 51 with the way that Duke is clicking at the offensive end of the floor.
You think? 1 second on the shot clock. Nice job beating the buzzer by Devin Daniels coming off the bench for the Wolfpack.
Now, if you're Auburn, I want to be a little bit patient. You want to speed up. That look how far they're initiating their offense, and this is one of the things Bruce Pearl talked about, is needing to have that 5-man come up and set that screen, but some uncharacteristic turnovers as they're trying to force it right now.
Third turnover committed by the Tigers. And again, Jared Harper comes in averaging 16 points, 6.5 assists per game. But he and Bryce Brown have yet to really get it cranked up tonight. But as expected, the pressure full court. The basketball in the hands of C.J. Bryce.
The funny thing starting both coaches is nobody really presses these two teams because of how elite they are athletically up top. And this is a matchup, as we mentioned, a lot of similarities between the two teams, but it really starts with their backcourt.
D'Angelo Purifoy has come into the game along with Austin Wiley. They were the two players forced to sit out all of last season. Purifoy served a 9-game suspension to start this year, and so he has only played 7 minutes total coming in to tonight.
Great kick.
And there is Purifoy off a terrific look from Harper.
Yeah, you break down the back line of the defense, but now you're giving up something in transition.
Jericho Helms makes it 15-4 State.
You get a sense of how much fun this game is going to be as far as the tempo and pacing that we're going to see.
But don't be lulled into a false sense of what Auburn is tonight, because they can do that and put points on the board in bunches.
There's been games where Auburn's gotten out to a big lead because they're shooting it so well, and then they've relaxed and allowed their opponents to get into it. There's been other games where they necessarily haven't shot the ball really well, and a prime example of that was last time out against UAB. Now, defensively, they were better in the first half against UAB, and then they got their offense going in the second half. Austin Wiley provides something that this team, quite frankly, didn't have a year ago. Somebody that can block the shots, somebody that can finish around the rim, because you have to remember, it's not just about Austin Wiley not being around, but Anthony McLemore, he wasn't there either. You know, he got hurt late in the season, and that really changed the way that Bruce Pearl's team defended.
An ankle injury late in February really sidetracked what Auburn was doing with McLemore in the middle. He is a premium rim protector, and so now Coach Pearl feels like, you know, he's got 9-10 guys he can rely on. Here's Devin Daniels, redshirt sophomore from Battle Creek, Michigan, off the DJ Funderburk. He can make that shot.
Yeah, but that's a shot that they'd rather give up. You'd rather give that one up than the one to Markel Johnson or Braxton Beverly.
Another turnover. Spencer gives it away. Daniels has it for NC State. And then he's left wide open. Throws up a brick. Rebound pulled down by Malik Dunbar. Harper left his feet, able to find a teammate. Here's Dunbar. Five to shoot. Dunbar tees it up. Here comes State. Johnson to the basket, has the shot blocked, but we've got a foul call.
One of the things that really stands out to me is the ability to switch defensively. I think that's a big key to North Carolina State's success. They can really switch and exchange out on the perimeter. They are contesting and they are present and pressuring the ball at all times. It's been very disruptive in the early stages of this game.
At the free throw line, Markel Johnson, the junior out of East Tech High School in Cleveland, and in talking to him this morning after shoot-around, he's really looking forward to the 4-day break he's got coming up for the holiday, and going home to see his mom, Sabrina, who he says she is what drives him. Says she's a hard-working lady. She raised me, and he can't wait to get home and see her at Christmas time.
It's a fun time for college basketball. It's just after finals now. So a couple things that happen is you get geared up. I remember playing at UCLA. You get geared up to go to break. But you also have a lot of time to bond. Students are gone. They're off campus. And it gives you an opportunity as a team to come even closer and make the adjustments you need to make before you start conference play.
Harper hangs in the air. Missed the reverse. Here comes State with numbers to the rim. How about Blake Harris, who went down hard? And then Williams comes in. He and Malik Dunbar are separated. I like Blake Harris taking off, thinking he's throwing that down.
Yeah, the transfer from Missouri, noted for his great perimeter defense, an aggressive move going to the basket, a challenge at the cup. Nothing dirty about that in my mind. But it is a hard fall. And then afterwards, the stare down. No need for any stare downs. There's really a bunch of pushing that led to nothing.
And you're absolutely right, Sean. Clean up top, going for the ball. It was the standing for an extra second looking down at him.
That's
on the floor.
That's what caused the pushing and shoving and the nudging of players. It's not a big deal. I know we've seen it quite frequently in the NBA. Oklahoma City Thunder, every single night, seemingly they're pushing guys. It was against the Bulls, and Joakim Noah was upset earlier this week. But, I mean, look, that is a good, hard foul. He's challenging at the top. If he blocks it, it's going to be on SportsCenter. If he finish it, it's going to be on SportsCenter. But because it's a foul, you take a hard fall, nothing dirty about it. Let's just get to the free throw line and let's play.
It's the holiday season. Where's the holiday spirit? Let's all get along, and everybody did. You're talking about, in that moment as they take a look to see if there's anything flagrant that occurred, the officials. We saw Jared Allen of the Brooklyn Nets last night understand in the moment that while he was contesting the dunk attempt by LeBron James, I'm either going to get it or I'm going to get it dunked on me, and either way, it's going to be on SportsCenter.
Yeah.
It's the way it is. Well, the officials appear to have come up with a flagrant one ruling on the Malik Dunbar block shot. And so Ron Groover, the official, along with Teddy Valentine and Jamie Luckey, comes over to tell Sean how they came to that conclusion.
And they said that it was a flagrant one due to excessive contact. I think, look, it's protecting the player when he's in the air. But I think that's just a good, hard challenge, and I just think that's a normal foul.
I agree, and what's a defender supposed to do if not that? Just let him lay it in? Well, the good news is Blake Harris.
And we just got a technical foul on Bruce Pearl. So if things couldn't get much worse for Bruce Pearl and the Auburn Tigers, it just did. But here's a look at the flagrant one rule we were just showing you. Excessive contact. I didn't see anything that was deemed excessive there. And that's just my opinion. The officials went to the monitor. They saw it differently. Or was that a warning on Bruce? Okay.
Well, Bruce Pearl's in a little bit of a mood today because he told us at their shoot-around over on campus this is the first time in his 40-year basketball career that he's not been able to come into the game arena and have shoot-around and let his guys get a sense of the building on game day. And that's because there was graduation held in PNC Arena this morning. And so they had to practice over on the NC State campus.
And look, it's a little weird when you go into your opponent's practice facility and that's where you have to hold your shoot-around.
Right. Oh, no question. Perhaps not unprecedented, but certainly unusual.
Everything is out of sorts, and that's because of the pressure. If you look at that whole offensive possession for Auburn, they never got the ball even close to the three-point line until there was a turnover. They have 6 turnovers and only 3 made baskets in this game. They have to calm down against the pressure. If someone's pressuring you, you have to apply the pressure back to them. Set an on-ball screen, back cut, utilize their pressure against them. They're not cutting with purpose. They're not spacing the floor properly right now, and they're out of sorts.
And their 2 lead guards, Harper and Brown, who combined for about 34 points a game, have yet to score. Markel Johnson fights that shot up. What a rebound. Daniels, though, missed on the putback.
But do you see how the pressure immediately slows Auburn down? Now they initiate their offense. Look at how far out they are right now. We're 20 seconds left to go on the shot clock here. No passes in the set. Nothing happening going towards the basket.
Javon McCormick runs the point for Auburn. Brown. Good defense by Daniels. And now only 7 to shoot.
This is phenomenal defense, folks. It's a textbook. That is a textbook defensive possession. Bottle that up and put it on replay if you're Coach Keats. They have disrupted and frustrated the Tigers.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is brought to you by Domino's. Order online and track your order.
NC State getting after it defensively has just 1 steal, Sean, but they have forced 7 turnovers. They are getting after it as a team.
Yeah, and Bryce Brown receives this ball with 6 seconds left to go and is backing away Now it's at 5. Where are you going? You have to know how much time's left on the clock, but there's no space. And look at how in reach the help side positioning is for North Carolina State. This is exactly what they want to do. They want to be able to switch, they want to be able to pressure, and they want to force you to stay in front of them. The 3 keys that Coach Keats talked about with us today at practice. Number 1, we've got to be able to defend the 3. Right now, Auburn is 0 for 5. The second key, defensive transition. The Wolfpack are outscoring the Tigers 8-0 in fast break points. And then the last one is the rebounding war, and they're +3 right now on Auburn. They are doing exactly what their game planning was.
Helms has it taken away. 4th turnover by the Wolfpack. Austin Wiley unable to corral it. Nice job by Markel Johnson to get his hand in there and knock it away.
And the 8th turnover. So even when you have an opportunity to run out, again, you're forcing it. Wiley's not ready to make the catch. That's twice they've tried to feed it to Wiley, and both times it's been turnovers. Empty possessions.
Beverly back into the game for NC State. He got the start tonight and helped to get the Wolfpack off to a quick start. He leads all scores with 8. Beverly uses the screen from Walker. Gives it back to Walker. What a beautiful set. Largest lead of the night. And what an addition Wyatt Walker, the graduate transfer from Samford, is to this program. And as a grad transfer, Sean, not just this year, he'll be eligible to play for NC State next year. Another forced turnover by State.
Great job drawing 2 defensive players stepping to the ball, and as they step to the ball, Walker just slips to the rim. It's an easy pass and a good finish.
And again, remember, Beverly is not just your prototypical combo guard, shooting guard. He really can run the point. Last year, a 3.3 assist to turnover ratio. It's the best for a freshman in ACC history.
We're getting a little sloppy here, though. I mean, Auburn continues to turn it over, but now all of a sudden, NC State, 2 out of the last 3 possessions, they've had turnover issues. And this is the interesting part. You mentioned about Bryce Brown and Jared Harper struggling and not scoring so far. Well, Eder has torn Doran for NC State.
That Harper layup ends a 4-minute scoreless drought for Auburn.
Delay game warning for the Auburn Tigers.
Leave the basketball alone after it goes through the hoop. We haven't mentioned C.J. Bryce yet. Redshirt junior from Charlotte with the basketball. He played his first 2 years for Kevin Keats at UNCW. Torn Dorn can't get the roll on the layup. Bryce Brown lost it. Another Auburn giveaway. Johnson, what a change of pace. But his pass comes to Brown. Right back to Markel Johnson. Beverly. This is the pace and tempo we thought we might see, Sean. Bodies flying everywhere. This time it's an offensive foul against Brown.
Yeah, pacing is one thing, but how about some poise to go along with that pacing? Frantic on both teams. They're just throwing the ball all over the floor. They're trying to do too much. Bryce Brown's frustrated with the start to the game that he hasn't had an opportunity of scoring. He's trying to draw the foul rather than being on balance and be able to finish. There was no reason for him to turn his body down. None. But before that, I mean, we had 3 turnovers in about 10 seconds. You can play fast, but you've got to also value the basketball.
Bryce was fouled by Doughty, and he'll shoot 2. Bowl Mania rolls on Thursday at 8 p.m. Eastern on ESPN with the Bad Boy Mowers Gasparilla Bowl at Raymond James Stadium in Tampa as the Thundering Herd of Marshall battle the USF Bulls. Of course, it's always available on the ESPN app as well.
Hey, to think about that bowl game, and what stands out most to me is how much USF is going to rely on Blake Barnett. You think about third school in 4 years. He went to Bama, Arizona State, now at South Florida. He ranked 19th nationally in total offense.
And you know, the Thundering Herd has been a postseason bowl game beast for years. Doc Holliday, their coach, is now 5-0 for Marshall. And as a program, they've gone 11-2 in all NCAA sanctioned bowl games. It's a Marshall team looking to close out the year, and you get a chance to see them in the Gasparilla Bowl, 8 o'clock Eastern tomorrow.
Good entry pass that time, and a good pin and seal underneath.
Backdoor pass knocked away. Nice job defensively. Here comes Chuma Okeke. Didn't even look to shoot. Then Doty gives it away. Markel Johnson.
That's a foul. I mean, Markel Johnson just threw Doty to the ground, and there was nothing called.
Right in front of us, they got engaged, and Johnson got rid of him.
That's not legal, by the way. That's not legal.
And Jamie Luckey, the official right there, it's hard to imagine how he didn't see that. Under 8 minutes remaining in the half. Here's DJ Funderburk. Timeout here in Raleigh, North Carolina. The Wolfpack up 9 over number 7, Auburn. Chris, thank you. Mikey Dixon, the Quinnipiac transfer, and St. John's, one of the 9 remaining teams in college basketball without a loss. And they are thrilled to have an Auburn transfer in Mustafa Heron, one of 3 guys. Bruce Pearl says he wasn't so sure he was ready to lose last offseason.
Well, I'll tell you what, right now, you look at this game, 21 turnovers and a combined only 12 field goals made. It has been extremely sloppy in the first half. If you're Bruce Pearl, you're thankful that the deficit is only 9, considering the fact that you've turned it over 13 times.
That foul on C.J. Bryce, his second.
You know, and you can go back to what you said about not being in this environment for shoot-around and all those things, Doug. But the reality of it is, not being here for shoot-around doesn't change your ability to pass and catch the basketball. Might affect your shooting. They haven't shot the ball all that well. They're 5, I mean, that poorly. They're 5 of 12 overall. Now, they haven't made a 3. But it's the turnovers that have just not allowed Auburn to find any rhythm or flow here in the first half because of the pressure of the Wolfpack.
Braxton Beverly for 3.
He's coming off a season-high 18 points against Penn State. They really look at him as a high-energy player that can stretch the defense.
Braxton Beverly is a small-town legend out of Hazard, Kentucky, population 5,000. He's got 11 points to lead all scores. There's an answer at the other end by Malik Dunbar.
A good read by Harper that time. Really didn't even utilize the screen, but 2 guys both came to him, and then as soon as they came to him, you're watching that back line to see if you force that guy to step, and that's what allowed the kick out to the 3 and then the blow by.
Johnson steps into a 3. Looked like Dunbar mistimed his jump, but the last to touch was Funderburk, and so the Tigers get it back.
It's either way they can just switch out on the perimeter. Dunbar, a really strong look that time.
Well, it's funny coming into this, Sean. You know, you see the scoring that both these teams do, well into the 80s every night on average. But it's easy to lose sight of the defense that they both play. And so far, it's not been the offenses dominating. It's been the defenses on both sides.
Yeah, but the last 2 possessions for Auburn, they found a little offense, and it's been Malik Dunbar. And the defense, watch on the rotation, they overplay his right hand thinking they're doing the weave action, and then you spin and turn. Help side defense a step slow, has to give up that seam. Dunbar able to finish.
That last foul on Anthony McLemore. This is Jericho Helms at the free throw line, a freshman out of Chaminade High School in St. Louis. That's the same school that produced Jason Tatum, the former Duke Blue Devil, now with the Celtics. They actually spent a couple of years as teammates back in high school.
That's not a bad teammate to have.
I'd love to have a teammate like that. Boy, Bryce Brown just does not look right, especially at this end of the floor. That's his 5th turnover.
And that was a good pass. I mean, that was a good pass. There's some of them you say, okay, well, that wasn't a great pass. No. Great pass, hits you right in the hands. You've got to secure it. And you know what it is? It's the pressure is forcing him to speed up. But don't worry, North Carolina State just gave it back too.
9th turnover by State. Beverly gives it back to Brown. Lost the handle on the ball, and it got to the sideline. I'm telling you, Brown, it's amazing how basketball is so fickle. 2 games ago, 34 points against Dayton, a career high. Last game, couldn't buy a bucket against UAB, 1 for 7 from the floor. Here he goes, trying to end those struggles. He gets the roll and will head to the line. Perhaps that's the catalyst, Sean, to flip the script the other way.
Yeah, he is one of the most elite players, really, when you look at the SEC. And you mentioned the high and low that we just saw in the last 2 contests for him. But he is the all-time leader for Auburn for made 3-point shots. He's made more than anybody in program history. 61% this season of his makes are from beyond the arc. But he is starting to be more aggressive and turn that corner. The last couple of games, he's manufacturing points. And when you're out of rhythm, a great way to find your rhythm is to get to the free throw line and see the ball go through the hoop.
Earlier this year, he passed the great Wesley Person for that record you speak of, Sean, for most threes in Tigers history. Walker's pass knocked away into the hands of Wiley, and here comes Harper to the rim. What a finish through contact from Malik Dunbar.
Well, and all of a sudden you look at the scoreboard and you're thinking to yourself, wait, hold on. It's a 4-point game. It's a 9-1 run right now for the Auburn Tigers, and their ability to spurt and score is something why, whether they're down or if they're up and they get relaxed and they allow you to come back, as we've seen, they put it on you in a hurry. And they finally got some good floor spacing here. Dunbar went to the floor. He's back up, so that's good. But I love the spurt ability of scoring that Auburn brings to the table. So, yeah, we talked about the defenses and how disruptive they can be. But both these teams average over 84 points per contest.
There you see Auburn has found the range, hitting 6 of its last 7 shot attempts.
But all of them were in the paint.
Yeah.
You know, it's not the 3-point jump shot yet. They haven't even started to score, and that, again, is the disruption on the perimeter. Defensively by North Carolina State, they're starting to utilize that pressure against them.
And perhaps the answer for Kevin Keats is getting Blake Harris back into the game, their best defender out on the perimeter. Foul on the reach around by Dunbar, his 2nd. That'll bring a 1-and-1. And we talked about the depth of Auburn. NC State has plenty of depth as well when you go down 4 and 5 people on your bench and you're bringing a guy like Blake Harris into the game with what he can do, especially at the defensive end.
And he has just really chosen to embrace the role of being the guy that is the defensive stopper on the outside. Bruce Pearl, though, I love what he just said, by the way, to Dunbar. We don't do that. We don't reach from behind. And you've got to stay true to your principles even when things are not going well in the first half. You can't get out of character.
Harper gets away from Harris this time. And it's NC State basketball.
I think Harper was looking for the foul versus going up and finishing. He kind of jumped back into the defense, which is why he came up short.
Funderburk returns for the Wolfpack. Beverly. In the backcourt with Harris. Helms out there as well. Lob inside Funderburg. Great seal and a very nice feed by Helms.
Foul on Harris, but one of the part of the offense is you extend out pressure. A good job pushing up the line, pinning and sealing, giving a target hand and an easy finish.
And the defender, Austin Wiley, is every bit of 6'11", 260 to lob that pass over his outstretched hand perfectly. It was really something. Harper lays it in softly. 4 points for the junior from Mableton, Georgia. It's a 4-point game.
Auburn starting to get downhill. That's causing problems for North Carolina State.
Well, that time it worked for Malik Dunbar. The reach around from behind for the poke away. Okiki dump it off Wiley. Strong finish and the foul.
It's amazing how quickly this game can change. Auburn has settled down and they started figuring out, hey, we get the ball inside, we can find some success. They've got a chance to make this a 1-point game. Wiley will be at the free throw line.
E-Trade halftime report coming your way in a little bit. Chris Cotter, Seth, and Jay Wilson. I'm the only one inappropriately dressed. I'll start. Highlights of St. John's and Virginia. They're both undefeated, trying to stay that way. What do you sweaters think of the first half here?
It seems like the ugly sweater motto has translated into the first half. 26 turnovers thus far in this ball game.
Notorious B-E-R-G is now Snowtorious, if you were wondering. But if you're Auburn right now, you think about this, 15 turnovers, you haven't made it 3. And I'm Bruce Pearl. I feel pretty good
still
about
in the
myself.
game.
Yeah.
I'm in pretty good shape. Throw the ball to the guys wearing your color jersey and make some shots.
All right, you ugly sweaters back there in the game, take over.
Well, the problem with Cotter is he can't find an ugly sweater that will fit him. I'll tell you what, it's interesting. You look, 24 points scored. 2 have come at the free throw line for Auburn. The other 22 have all been in the paint. They have started to figure out against this pressure, don't settle for the contested shot outside. Don't turn the ball over and give yourself a chance. And you know, Coach and Jay, they're talking about the turnovers. Here's the amazing aspect of it. They got 15 turnovers, yet in points off of turnovers, they actually have the advantage. They've converted the 11 turnovers of North Carolina State into 9 points, 15 turnovers only into 6 points for the Wolfpack.
NC State led by as many as 12, about the midpoint of the first half. And off of the drive and dish to Wiley, Auburn takes the lead on a 16-3 run.
They got to figure out how to guard the back line because now they're getting beat off the dribble on the perimeter, and then it's vacating the rim.
Funderburg has his pocket picked. A lot of contact. Offensive foul is the call against Purifoy. First foul on the junior from Centerville, Alabama.
Yeah, Bruce Pearl's going to be ecstatic. He's got to look and say, wait, I'm on the road. I've turned it over 15 times in the first 20 minutes. Not even the first 20 minutes, the first 17 and a half minutes. And I've got a lead against a 9-1 North Carolina State team.
And a quiet first half for Torin Dorn. Still looking for his first points. Beverly with a hand in his face. Able to connect. Give him 14. McCormick is fouled as he turned the corner. Fouled by Beverly.
The defense lunges here. Harper, as you see him leave his feet. And because he left his feet, that's what gave up the clean look.
Beverly was on his varsity basketball team as a 7th grader. Played through the 11th grade there, Sean. Scored 2,558 points.
I don't get the whole, he was on the varsity team as a 7th grader thing. High school doesn't start in the 7th grade.
Well, you pass a couple of tests, you're the best player in town, and they let you play varsity as a 7th grader. Again, it's a tiny town. And he actually broke a lot of people's hearts when he decided after his junior year to transfer out to Hargrave Military Academy. to play at a higher level to try and get himself better ready for this level of college ball.
Yeah, but how can you get mad about somebody challenging themselves to be better?
Blocking foul, no bucket.
I mean, look, you went to Syracuse. Did your hometown get upset with you because you went to Syracuse for broadcasting school?
Well, I went through high school in 12th grade. I didn't. If I had left early, perhaps some people would have been up in arms.
Okay, but if you would have had the opportunity to go to like an elite level broadcasting school for high school aged seniors, and you went, would you care if they got upset?
Well, no.
Okay.
No, I didn't say he cared.
I'm just saying, like, it's you know, broke a lot of people's hearts. Who cares?
Yeah.
The kid's trying to make a good life for himself. He wants to be the best basketball player he can be. Go do it.
You love rooting for your hometown guy.
You can still root for him.
Well, the frenetic action continues here in Raleigh. By the way, I love your sweater, Sean.
Thank you. I like Seth's and Jay Will's, too. I think I'm going to take up a knitting course and get one for Cotter. I'm going in the studio this weekend.
Buy a lot of yarn.
Yeah.
Foul on the low block. Funderburk tangling with McLemore. And it's on number 0 in white, much to the chagrin of the folks here at PNC Arena. That is foul number 2 on the redshirt sophomore from Cleveland.
A little pushing and shoving underneath. Not hard. That's easy.
And so Funderburk will take a seat with McLemore at the line. Teddy Valentine came over to his fellow official Ron Groover before the free throw was taken and said, let's take a look in case
They're looking at the hook. I think that's what they're looking.
Yeah, hook and hold.
And the hook and hold has been a point of emphasis this year.
On first glance, I didn't think that was the case. But largely, the NCAA is trying to legislate that play out of the game of college basketball, and I think they've done that this year.
Well, first of all, I think there was a lot of contact early that McLemore initiated, and then the hook and hold actually was probably from McLemore falling down.
Well, that's as big a problem on these as any. A lot of times, who are you calling the hook and hold on? Quite often, two guys are hooking and holding each other.
Looks like, by the way, McLemore, when he's pushing across the lane like that, he looks like an offensive lineman clearing space.
So just a common foul. We'll have a 1-and-1 upcoming for Anthony McLemore, a young man of extremely high intellect. What'd you score on your SAT, Sean?
Well, back then it was only out of 1,600.
Well, nowadays
1280.
You can go over that. McLemore went for 1670. He turned down an academic scholarship to MIT.
Right,
go to Auburn,
that's
Alabama.
better than me. The 1280 wasn't bad. I got into the Air Force Academy.
Did you?
Yes, full appointee.
Dorn's first two. Wolfpack up 4. Harper back to McLemore, spotting up for 3. Brown from the other side.
He's just frustrated. He's slapping his hands. He missed the shot. Just unhappy with his ability to score when you're talking about a great score. Meanwhile, Johnson, his ability to score acrobatically off balance. I mean, he literally twisted his upper body and turned it back to the rim to have an opportunity to finish. How about about this crowd? How about this environment? This is big time.
Harper. Shot clock off. The Pack can hold for one. And that is what Markel Johnson will do. Timeout. NC State will step away as well as PNC Arena is rocking. Seventh-ranked Auburn briefly took the lead, but NC State has come back with a little bit of help.
Well, the help is coming from Auburn. They've taken 3 consecutive three-point shots, and they've missed all 3 of them. Where was their success during that stretch? It was getting the ball in the paint. Don't settle for the perimeter shot right now if you're Auburn. They had 2 missed threes on that last possession alone. They need to come back and do what they were doing earlier in this half, and that is driving, forcing the back line to step, and then dumping. It's the drive and dump right now that was working well for Auburn.
So out of that timeout, where does Coach Keats want the ball to go?
I think you're going to set an on-ball screen. You're going to flatten out to the corners.
Johnson lobs it. The layup with 4 seconds to go by Helms.
What a way to close the half for North Carolina State. Looking to make a statement, looking to beat a top 10 opponent. The turnovers, that's been the big story here in the first half.
And the scoring of Braxton Beverly, his 14 points, leads everybody as NC State, looking for its 10th win of the year, leads the 7th-ranked team in the country at the break. It's 35-27. Now let's send it back to Chris Carter, Seth Greenberg, and Jay Williams in the studio.
This halftime report is presented by E-Trade, the original place to invest online.
Braxton Beverly has 14 in the first half. Here's 3 right off the bat. Second half coming your way. Seth, you know what this has been.
This has been the E-Trade halftime report.
We've got some college hoops and a good ball game here as Auburn takes on NC State. Getting ready for the start of the second half. NC State closed the half on a 10-1 run to retake the lead. And welcome back, everybody. Doug Sherman along with Sean Farnham. Auburn went with a push, making sure they got the ball inside, took the lead for just a brief second, and then it all went bad, and the Wolfpack took back over.
Could have been even worse, too, because NC State struggled with the free throw line, just 4 of 11 in the first half. But really, you got to think about Braxton Beverly and what he's meant for the Wolfpack. Coming off of a game where he had 18 points against Penn State, season best for him. You wonder, can he duplicate that performance one more time? So far in the first half, the answer's been yes. 4 of 5 from beyond the arc. He's got 14 points in the first half. Meanwhile, for Auburn, North Carolina State does a great job making you one-dimensional. They take away the three-point shot, continue to attack the paint. 24 of their 27 points came in the paint. The other 3, obviously, from the free throw line. They're 0 for 8 from beyond the arc. And that is a credit to North Carolina State and their attention to detail, holding the Tigers to 0 made threes. When you think about the fact overall this season, North Carolina State 19th best in the country at defending the three-point line.
Well, I ran into legendary Auburn head coach Sonny Smith at halftime, and as only he could say it, Sean, he said, I've never seen 2 teams be so good at turning the ball over in a half, as though it was a record.
Elite level in the turnover department in the first half between these 2 teams.
It's not easy to put up the number of turnovers we saw in that first half. Which one of these 2 teams can settle it down here in the second?
You mentioned 28 turnovers in the first 20 minutes.
The last time NC State has been at home and beaten a top 10 non-conference opponent, you were still in middle school, I think, Sean. 1986?
86? Yeah, I was in. No, I don't even know if I was in middle school yet.
Elementary school.
Yeah, I was in elementary school.
Okay. Been a long time.
I mean, you were just getting out of college.
No, I was in college.
Oh, sorry.
In college. Austin Wiley for 2. That was over at Reynolds Coliseum, of course, with the newly named Jim Valvano Arena. It just in recent weeks has had his name put on it.
Good job, though. Good opening possession for Auburn. Getting the ball back down low, utilizing Wiley. The more they score inside, the more it'll force North Carolina State to cheat off their guys, and then it'll open up a better quality look from beyond the arc.
Got a good look from C.J. Bryce, still looking for his first field goal.
Go back inside.
And defensively, State's done a really nice job on Bryce Brown.
A really good job on everybody on the perimeter.
Inside they go again, and a chance for three. Austin Wiley.
Discipline, composure from the Auburn Tigers coming out of the locker room. They get a good baseline cut from Wiley. He starts on the left-hand block and works his way all the way over to the right-hand side. Receives the screen and then pins and seals. A nice job.
Just the first foul on Markel Johnson trying to help out. That's a dozen points for Wiley. Auburn back within 3. Second foul on Chuma Okeke. Just 2 minutes into the second half here in Raleigh. 9-1 Auburn, 9-1 North Carolina State. Wolfpack receiving votes again this week in the AP poll, while Auburn moved up from 8 to 7 this week. Nice look. Walker with the slam.
A lot of ball watching defensively that time for Auburn.
Samir Dowdy working on Beverly. Off the made bucket, Auburn able to apply a little pressure.
You've got to remember, Auburn averages about 11 made three-pointers per contest, so this is not their nature, right? Their nature is they want to cast from 3. They're confident in their shooting ability, but sometimes you've got to show growth, and if this team wants to be a team that can win in March, opponents are going to take away your biggest strength. How do you perform on those nights when you can't get the first or the looks that you're accustomed to seeing? Markel Johnson does a nice job. Look at that, he forces the defense. That little step back, force the defense to freeze, and then Walker wide open on the back end. And now it's up to North Carolina State to see how they respond, because Auburn has continued to apply pressure by getting it inside, and a turnover and empty possession once again.
16. .20 remaining in regulation. With Sean Farnham, I'm Doug Sherman. Auburn with a chance to tie. And you know, Sean, we talked in the first half about Auburn's inability to get into this building before an hour and a half before tip-off. Foul against the Wolfpack that draws the ire of the fans here in Raleigh. Is that a possible excuse for why Auburn's not been able to knock down a jump shot here tonight?
No, they've just all been contested. That's why they haven't been able to knock down the three-point shot, is because North Carolina State is standing right in front of their face. But what they've been able to do right now is continue to attack the interior. And Austin Wiley, who has played limited minutes really all season long, just one game with over 20 minutes played, has been very efficient, and he's been very efficient out of the half here.
Wiley with 12 points, and the junior from Hoover, Alabama, knocks in the second.
First 4 minutes of this second half, and North Carolina State only 2 points.
Beverly's pass goes out of bounds back to Auburn, and that takes us to our first media timeout of the second half. Wolfpack lead the Tigers by 2.
Doug Sherman, it is a 2-point lead for NC State, but they've only got 2 points here to start the second half. Meanwhile, Auburn, they've got 8, and all of it has been going towards the basket, being aggressive. They dominated this category in the first half, and to start the second half, 0 3-point attempts so far. Everything is going towards the basket. Bruce Pearl's team showing a great deal of discipline here in the first 4 minutes.
And you know what, Sean Farnham? We talked about which team would be able to curtail their turnovers in the second half so far. It's been Auburn. 0 turnovers for the Tigers since the break until right there. And NC State has 3 turnovers in the first 4 minutes.
Well, again, illegal screen. I thought it was there, so it must have been at his base because, again, that's been a point of emphasis. They thought about a wider base this year.
Markel Johnson being guarded by Bryce Brown.
And the pace has really slowed down in this game. It's becoming a half-court battle.
And again, as we talked about off the top, each of these teams prefer to play in the 80s or 90s, but they both defend very well. Markel Johnson for 3. He joins Beverly in double figures. Bryce Brown well short.
They're now 0 for 10 from 3.
Daniels hanging in the air.
Bruce Pearl not happy with the floor spacing at all on this possession.
And Samir Dowdy is the one who is not where the coach wants him to be.
And that's, more importantly, the second foul on Wiley, setting his screen. At the opposite end of the floor, though, little hesitation, split, and finish for Daniels. Good, strong attack of the rim. Not a lot of space needed for Markel Johnson either. He's got 11.
And that man Beverly's got 14, coming off a season-high 18 points on Saturday against Penn State.
It seems like every time Auburn starts to seize a little bit of control in this game, North Carolina State has had its response.
There goes Daniels. Baseline jump shot, Helms. Harper finds the trailer. And the 3 is good by Dunbar.
That was a good rhythm step-in 3 by Dunbar, first of the game for the Auburn Tigers.
Daniels rattles it home. 5 quick points for the redshirt sophomore from Battle Creek, Michigan.
Came into this game just shooting 28% from beyond the arc. He's playing with confidence, though. Saw him attack on that drive, and then now 2 possessions later gets it. And great perimeter defense by the guy that Coach Keats says is the best on-ball defensive player that they have. Blake Harris stepping up and just absolutely frustrating Jared Harper.
Harper's second foul. And, you know, it's not just at game time. The number 55 in white, Blake Harris, turns it on. He does it on the defensive end in practice every time he's on the floor. Here he is with the basketball, being guarded by Javon McCormick. Harris lost his footing and turns it over.
Well, Coach Keats, so many new faces on this roster. And the number one concern you have is chemistry. And I asked him, I said, what has surprised you most in the first third of your season? You're 10 games in. And he goes, the way we came together. Now, part of that goes back to his time at Hargrave Military Academy. For 10 years, he was their head coach. They had tremendous turnover every single year while he was there. So he knows how to do it. So with all these new faces, they took a trip to Wilmington, spent some time down there on the beach. And he has a no cell phone policy. No cell phones in meetings. You can't talk on a cell phone on the bus. No cell phones at team dinners. And if you pull it out, you get told immediately you got to put it away.
Yeah.
And it's forcing his guys to communicate, and the communication is what builds trust and allows you to have success.
Sean, one of the other things he does with his guys that I think is really neat is that he forces each of his players to stand up in group settings and introduce one of his teammates by telling something personal about that guy. Funderburk denied by Okiki. Then it's Wiley with the block shot. 1 on the clock for the Wolfpack.
Good defense. Auburn picking up its level of intensity. That's Wiley's presence. Good
Foul
call.
on Daniels to try and create space, knowing he was up against it on the clock.
Smart play that time by Harper. I feel like I should stand up and say something about you that I didn't know.
Go ahead.
You wear a size 10 shoe.
How did you know that?
Because you want me to buy you a pair of shoes for Christmas.
Guilty. And you know what? If the nation needs to know that for me to get a new pair of shoes, I'm good with that.
All right.
Okiki gets it back. Trying to make it 3 in a row from the perimeter. Tigers, though, can't do it. Dunbar denied by Funderburk. McCormick with a burst of speed to the goal.
This hasn't been the prettiest game to watch. You just have a feeling that it's going to stay this tight all the way through.
And you know, you said off the top that this had the chance to look like a Sweet 16 type of game. Do you still feel that way?
Well, no, it's looked very unlike a Sweet 16 game because of all the turnovers.
But in terms of the intensity.
I mean, look at this. I mean, in the open floor, there is no need whatsoever for McCormick to throw that pass. You've got a 2-point game. Value the ball. Nobody has so far.
Scrooge likes the Wolfpack leading by 2.
That's the Grinch. It's not Scrooge.
The Grinch. Thank you.
Gosh, come on. Zion, though, last night was absolutely phenomenal. We'll talk about him evidently later. How about point production in the paint for Auburn? Yeah, that works as well. Oh,
the Grinch.
Can we please just start that segment over again?
Of course. We got a nice picture with the Grinch before the game.
By the way, Tennessee Tech plays Duke Thursday night, 7 p.m. Eastern Time, ESPN 2. Live from Madison Square Garden.
Chance to see Zion against Texas Tech, number 2 against number 12. And as always, on the ESPN app. Dunbar the steal, had it knocked away by Harris, who couldn't save.
All right, now we got it queued up. Let's roll it. Zion Williamson, last night, look at this block versus Princeton. Are you kidding me? He almost knocked himself unconscious. Going to the backboard. Okay, he hit his arm, but still, if his arm wasn't there, he would have hit the backboard. How about that level of athleticism? And that was only number 2 on the SportsCenter top 10.
That might get onto SportsCenter's top 10 when the 6-foot Javon McCormick throws it down.
I'll tell you, not his first throw down. Did you see his dunk he had against Dayton in the Maui Invitational? He is a high-flying athlete.
5 points for the junior from New Orleans, and we're tied at 45. Tough shot, Daniels.
How about Daniels picking up his offense here in the second half? Braxton Beverly hasn't even attempted a shot. He's not even out on the floor. He's going to be checking in here in a second. But with him out, Devin Daniels has emerged.
McCormick hangs in the air, showing off that athleticism again.
That's 3 times now here in the second half where he's been able to utilize his speed and quickness and get to the paint. They're playing a long stretch right now without Bryce Brown being on the floor for Auburn. He's been ineffective all evening long.
Ten to shoot. Markel Johnson. Corner three, Dunbar, a little strong, kept alive. Spencer with the putback. Horace Spencer's first 2 points draws Auburn back within one.
Great hustle that time by Harper. If he's not there, Daniels has an easy layup. Sometimes you get beat and you just got to recover. It's like a defensive back. You know, the wide receiver gets behind you, you got to make a play. But last basket, Spencer doing a nice job on the offensive glass, just being strong with it. Gathering himself, not trying to do too much.
Beverly able to get it into Johnson. Johnson again from deep. He's got it. Count the basket and the foul on McCormick.
That's a great job getting your feast set. Again, he's hit a lot of close threes where they've been contested. That time the contact comes with the poor closeout. And Johnson, he has been fantastic.
He's got 17 points. This is the young man who led the AC and a CC in assists per game a year ago. McCormick with 5 on the shot clock. Dowdy left it short. Offensive rebound. Purifoy, but he gives it away back to the pack. Johnson again.
Oh!
Bryce Brown with another turnover. 22 Auburn turnovers. McCormick down the lane again, and this time the foul on the reach in against Beverly.
North Carolina State is 9-1 this college basketball season. They have been thumping the opponents all year long, but they're not in the top 25, and they're screaming right now. Led by Markel Johnson saying, come on, give us some respect.
Looking forward to it, Chris. We're enjoying the show put on by Markel Johnson, a career-high 5 made threes. He's got 21 points.
That ties his season best he had against Wisconsin.
And he was telling us this morning that the reclassification he did coming out of high school in Cleveland was the best thing he did. He got to campus as a 17-year-old and got to play against Dennis Smith Jr. in practice every single day. It's made him a better player.
Oh, he's been outstanding. His growth and development has been noticeable. I mean, a great distributor a season ago, averaged 7.3 assists per contest, was really a facilitator. This year shooting better than 48% from beyond the arc and is becoming a much larger factor in the scoring department.
Auburn down 7 with the basketball. They've led just for a matter of moments tonight. Late in the first half by 1 single point. Harper. Boy, McCormick's been an unbelievable spark off the bench for Coach Pearl's team.
McCormick's ability to score, he's got 9 on the game now. is the reason why Bryce Brown is still on the sideline. He's been far more efficient and effective at impacting the game. And Bryce Brown is an all-SEC caliber player.
Daniels to the left hand. That's not easy to do when big number 50's hanging on you.
All 9 of Daniels' points have come here in the second half.
Harper off the glass.
How about that touch? Drifting away, soft touch off the top of the backboard.
Give him 6 points. Markel Johnson's feeling it.
What did he tell you about the matchup between him and Harper?
He said he's looking forward to it, but he really kind of downplayed it.
And what did Coach Keats tell us about it?
He gets fired up.
Yeah, he's fired up. He is putting on an absolute show. Markel Johnson was ACC honorable mention a year ago. He's done it from beyond the arc, and now he does it inside the paint. A little spin, squared, able to finish. And the matchup, Harper not afraid at the other end of the floor. They need a lot more of this, though, down the stretch to the Auburn Tigers.
Harper coming off a career-high 31 points on Saturday at UAB. He has just 6 so far tonight. Johnson this time gives it up. Daniels. Brown gives it to Harper. Dowdy to the rim. Found the bottom of the rim, and here comes the Wolfpack. Daniels absorbs the contact, and he's got a chance for 3.
Dowdy really tried to do too much. Little hesitation, and that hesitation caused him to miss the layup. Meanwhile, Daniels, nothing fantastic about it other than just composure and strength and finishing through the defense.
3rd foul on Okiki as Daniels, the Utah transfer, cannot finish the 3-point play. Harper with 5 to shoot. Barry. Dowdy's got 7.
Good job by Dowdy using the shot fake. Creating space with the 1 dribble bounce. Get his feet set underneath him.
It's a play on, and Daniels just continues to get buckets.
Coach Keats trying to build his program. He's asking the fans to get on their feet. He knows what's on the line. This opportunity to show the nation and beat a top 10 opponent on your floor in the non-conference.
Here comes his Wolfpack again. Daniels behind the back. Puts it up and in! And he gives a point to the bench. All 15 of his points coming in the second half. On the entry pass, the foul comes from behind on Wyatt Walker, his 4th. Well, Sean, what did Kevin Keats tell you about what this would do for his program if he and Daniels can get this type of win here tonight?
That they're a year ahead of schedule. That says a lot, because 11 wins last year in the ACC. We know how difficult the ACC is. He says with this many new faces against a team that had a ton of success a year ago, he had a flat tire and he still was able to finish. A little smile from Johnson. He was looking to hammer it home, but The leg just didn't allow him to get up there.
A career high 25 points for Markel Johnson. Flat tire or not, he's looking pretty good. Tune into SportsCenter tonight after the Frisco Bowl on ESPN with Scott Van Pelt. He'll have Pacers-Raptors highlights and a look at Kawhi's impact in Toronto. Plus, Notre Dame head football coach Brian Kelly joins the show, and Bama QB Tua Tagovailoa talks about how his ankle is healing. SportsCenter with SVP tonight on ESPN after San Diego State and Ohio, and also on the ESPN app.
It's amazing when you think about Bryce Brown and Auburn. Bryce Brown now in the last game and 3 quarters, basically almost 2 games, is 2 of 13 shooting from the floor. 0 for 10 from beyond the arc.
Yet another Auburn turnover. Give him 25 on the night. We'll take another break as the rally continues in Raleigh. Barney?
Listen, my Bruins need to get a win. They lost to Belmont at home. Now, Belmont's a good team, good program. Coach Bird always has them ready. Now, UCLA, this UCLA team, they got to win a game. They got Cincinnati, and then they've got Ohio State this weekend. You can't lose 3 games in a row and head into conference play. I'm concerned.
As well you should be. Beverly's pass taken away by McCormick. Harper off a nice ball fake, gets an open look and buries it.
There are 44 turnovers tonight so far. 44. It has not been the prettiest of games. Make it 45 turnovers. Five-second violation.
20th turnover committed by NC State, and they still lead by 9.
Yeah, but that's 3 possessions.
The largest lead has been 12. NC State had that late in the first half and has matched it just a couple of moments ago here in the second half. Auburn trying to get back in it with 3 minutes on the clock. Daniels, who's been so effective here in the second half, missed with a left. Harper for 3 again.
Didn't have lift on his legs. Great shot fake, but didn't elevate high enough there. You could tell as soon as it was released, it wasn't going to get there.
Another Wolfpack turnover. McCormick. 2 more points. Auburn hanging around.
And Coach Keats is looking at his team going, guys, what are we looking at? I mean, there are turnovers, and then there's some turnovers that you just scratch your head and go, okay, they're double teaming. Who are you throwing that pass to? But a good job for Auburn in transition, finishing, cutting it to a 7-point game.
Well, in just 10 days on Saturday, December 29th, on ESPN, we'll have the college football playoff semifinals beginning at 4 Eastern, kicking off with number 2 Clemson, number 3 Notre Dame in the Goodyear Cotton Bowl Classic. Then at 8, it's number 1 Alabama and number 4 Oklahoma in the Capital One Orange Bowl. And like everything else, you can watch it live on the ESPN app from anywhere.
I am so excited for the college football playoff. The pageantry of it, the fact that you're playing your way in. And look, you look at those matchups and you say, okay, it should be number 1 versus number 2. Crazy things have happened. Saw some incredible games a year ago. Remember Oklahoma, what they were able to do to Georgia?
Yeah.
Of course, Georgia goes on and wins the game. If we see Clemson, Alabama for a national championship, and just sit there on the couch and enjoy two of the teams that have been most dominant. And Clemson just dominated the ACC this year.
Well, there's no question about that. The NC State football team, along with Syracuse, were a distant second in the division. Clemson ran away with it. But they'll have their hands full against Notre Dame in the first semi. Markel Johnson working on McCormick.
A lot of dribbling, not a lot of passing the last two possessions for NC State.
There goes Johnson. Throws it up to Dorn, and with 3 to shoot, he beats the buzzer. Not a thing of beauty, but it worked.
I guarantee you they didn't draw that up coming out of the timeout.
Okiki.
A smart play that time by Markel Johnson. And now Bruce Pearl's yelling, hey, we got a foul. If there's one aspect of this game that has not gone well for North Carolina State, it's been at the free throw line. They are 5 of 13 from the charity stripe.
And that includes the man who's at the stripe now. Markel Johnson, just 2 of 5, came into the year 10 of 13. Well, that's about the only thing that's not gone well for number 11 for the Wolfpack. A career high 25 points.
What a great crowd, too. The environment's been spectacular.
Well, you bring in the 7th ranked team in the country, you expect fans to come out. And the folks certainly here in Raleigh have done that tonight. Calmly, Johnson hits a pair.
Coach Keats called timeout and smiled. And he can smile not just because Markel Johnson, but also because of Devin Daniels. Devin Daniels in the second half of this game has stepped up where Braxton Beverly was in the first half. Beverly had the great first half, hasn't even attempted a shot in the second half, hasn't needed to, because Devin Daniels continues to be the aggressor, continues to look to attack. All 15 of his points have come in the second half. And that's the one thing for both of these teams. This is why both these teams are going to have good seasons, is it's the depth. Look, Bryce Brown, we've documented. He hasn't had a great night. So other guys have tried to step up for Auburn. For North Carolina State, they go 10 guys. They can mix up different combinations. And whoever's got the hot hand, they're doing an excellent job feeding them. And in the second half in particular, Johnson and Daniels have been the catalyst offensively.
And so you don't miss so much that C.J. Bryce has 1 point, Torrin Dorn has 4. That's it.
Yep. And oh, by the way, then they get after you at the defensive end of the floor and make you uncomfortable.
Well, the preseason poll in the ACC said North Carolina State was the 8th best team in the league. How you feeling about that right now?
I told Coach Keats I was one of those that believed that they were because of just how many new faces that they had. But as I've watched this team play throughout the course of this non-conference, there is no way they're finishing 8th in the ACC this year. None.
Well, the preseason poll had Duke 1, Virginia 2, Carolina 3, Syracuse 4. Obviously, that has not played out, nor has NC State being only 8th best.
Yeah, just you look at it, and I think Florida State obviously has put itself in there. Virginia Tech, we saw them in Charleston, South Carolina, a very balanced team that's very explosive. A lot of guard play for Buzz Williams. I think NC State right now is hovering around that 5-6 line. So moving up, could maybe go as high as 4, dependent upon the matchups and the schedule and as it plays out. But I think Florida State's been a team that a lot of people have overlooked this year as well. You know, they forget that some better management on the clock down the stretch. They maybe beat Michigan and are in the Final Four a year ago. They return everybody. That's why the ACC is going to be a ton of fun to watch as we get closer and closer to conference play.
And how about the 3 teams here in the triangle? NC State, Duke, and Carolina among the national leaders in points per game. A lot of good ball being played right now around here.
And of course, We got Carolina, got the big win against Gonzaga. Cam Johnson, he got going. He was lights out from beyond the arc in that game. And Roy Williams gets a win versus Gonzaga and gets 8 more years on his contract.
That's a good week.
Merry Christmas, Roy.
NC State with the basketball. Looking to improve to 10-1 on the year with a major statement victory. Daniels could not find Funderburk, who was all by himself in the backcourt and has to use a timeout.
Good job defensively. That's the second time Auburn almost forced a 5-second violation on trying to inbound the ball when you can run the baseline.
Well, we asked Coach Keats after shoot around today, what's your philosophy on your non-conference scheduling? He said every year he wants to play 4 Power 5 teams, 1 at home, 1 on the road, 2 at neutral sites, and it's a big part of the formula to build here in Raleigh.
When you recruit kids and you go out and they want to play in big games. They want to play against great competition. Look, fans are going to watch this and go, man, Auburn, too many turnovers. Bryce Brown, wow. No, Bryce Brown is a heck of a basketball player. Auburn is going to be right there in the SEC with Tennessee, Kentucky. Mississippi State's got to start making some shots. I was listening to the Cotter.
Spencer, and the Tigers are still fighting.
And foul's going to be against Jared Harper. But look, Bruce Pearl's team, it's not a fluke what they were able to accomplish last year. And anybody that was like, oh, no, is that a fluke? No, not a fluke. This is a really good Auburn team. Now, tonight, they're going against a really good opponent, though. And as I mentioned earlier in this half, North Carolina State, I thought, should have been a top 25 team before this week. They're leaving no doubt that they are a top 25 team heading into the next poll. The way they are able to defend and disrupt. Auburn has never, part of those turnovers is caused because they are just so disruptive. They have to initiate their offense almost at the half-court line. They haven't been able to get it in an operational area.
And that was part of the plan coming in today for Coach Pearl, how best to handle that, and they've not been able to do that.
They couldn't get to the spot on the floor that they wanted to.
Okiki. Foul on the rebound. Second foul on Devin Daniels. But how about the energy in the building tonight? You know, a lot of times you come into a Christmas break type setting and you're not sure what you're going to get. Now, it's not a capacity crowd, but it has been jumping right from the start. There's the foul in the backcourt. Okiki will send Johnson back to the line. 4th foul on Chuma Okiki. Well, one of the common themes for Auburn coming into this year has been for Bruce Pearl the phrase unfinished business. And Sean, you talked about the fact that last year they did a lot of great things, but several of them feel like they left a lot of meat on the bone.
Some injuries altered and changed their defense. And down the stretch, they weren't playing their best basketball. It's still able to get the NCAA tournament. And, of course, get a share of the SEC title.
Wolfpack happy to dribble it out if allowed. Another foul. That's it for Okiki. He is fouled out.
I mean, the SEC going to be a much, much better basketball conference, and even what it was a year ago when they set a record of teams into the NCAA tournament. This non-conference, though, hasn't necessarily given them a ton of opportunities to get some great wins. They left some wins on the table. Here was one tonight for Auburn that they're going to walk away with a loss. LSU outlasted St. Mary's in Las Vegas over the weekend. They got a chance against an undefeated Furman at home on Friday night. That's LSU. That's a game LSU's thinking, hey, we got to get not just for ourselves, but for the conference.
Dunbar, yes. Auburn continues to scrap and claw. Again, a deflection on the inbound. It's just a 5-point game. Stranger things have happened. The Wolfpack does have one timeout remaining.
They're going to adjust the clock. Take it from 7.4 to 7.2.
Funderburk fouled before he could get it back to Beverly.
Well, again, we talked about Auburn, and in the SEC, I think they're going to continue to be exactly where they were a year ago. I think they're going to be in the hunt for the SEC championship. I think this is a bigger statement for North Carolina State. The Wolfpack have come out tonight. They showed once again their ability to get after you at the defensive end of the floor, be disruptive. And then they have multiple scorers, guys that are really finding themselves and becoming more and more comfortable within the offense.
Well, Kevin Keats told us this morning that if they won this game tonight, his program would be ahead of schedule. Consider them ahead of schedule.
Johnson was phenomenal. Devin Daniels in the second half. Braxton Beverly in the first half.
Our final score, 78-71. NC State takes down number 7 Auburn. Coming up next on ESPN2, UCLA at Cincinnati. For Sean Farnham, I'm Doug Sherman. Thanks for watching. So long from Raleigh. And now let's head to Cincy.
Adam, I couldn't find an extra medium, so I had to go with the coat and tie.
No medium for you, I can tell you that much.
You trade a halftime report earlier today. NC State and Auburn in Raleigh. Braxton Beverly had a huge first half. 15 points hitting that three. And then it was all about Markel Johnson.
Markel Johnson was terrific, but this is an NC State team that plays with 4 guards. They spread you out, they drive you, and they are disruptive defensively.
By the way, Devin Daniels put in work in the second half.
Johnson here now with the steal, the lay-in at 27. All about the Wolfpack. Keatsy, look at Kevin Keats.
Look at my guy Keatsy. New contract.
Yeah, how big was that contract?
It was very large. His wife needs to go shopping. Large.
Only you would know the
2.7 to be
exact number.
That's what you
that
get.
quick off
You
the
go to
question.
the ACC and you start winning games. They reward you, and that's what's happening with Keats. There's a big win for NC State, though, today. Really big win against
It was
a
a
ranked
big
team.
win, and more importantly, how they won. Kevin Keats, he does a great job of getting his kids to really compete and play really hard, draw a line in the sand. But they're as good an on-ball defensive team as I've seen so far this season. Their ability to guard the ball man-to-man, and when they switch, keep it in front, pressure, contest, and even though they're undersized, rebound the ball and then get out in transition. Their defense starts with their ball pressure. Terrific.
You're about to have 6 teams from the ACC next Monday in the top 25 because NC State belongs in the top 25.
No doubt.
And defensively, they did exactly what they were supposed to do. You have to cut the head off the snake. They did that with Jared Harper and Bryce Brown. Bryce Brown did not look like himself tonight. I don't know what was going on, but they held those two to 14 points. You can do that, you're going to have a legitimate chance to beat Auburn every time.